This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chuck Tinte. Brittany is away today. The Prime Minister is backing plans to redevelop the port of Churchill. Mark Carney signaled support at meetings in Europe to expand the northern shipping route. But as the CBC's Josh Crabb reports, making this plan a reality will come with challenges.
Mark Carney aus Kanada heute im Kanzleramt.
Prime Minister Mark Carney announced an agreement with Germany's Chancellor on critical minerals and energy, and he signaled money is on the way for new port infrastructure, including in northern Manitoba. He says an announcement is coming in the next 2 weeks.
A new port, effectively in Churchill, Manitoba, which would open up enormous LNG plus other opportunities.
Churchill is home to North America's only deep-water port with Arctic Ocean access, which can be reached by rail. While the exact details are limited, the Prime Minister spoke about the potential of using it to move liquefied natural gas, or LNG. He talked about it again in Latvia.
It unlocks, and I salute Premier Canoe's initiative here, it unlocks major Indigenous leadership and participation.
Canada's Natural Resources Minister Tim Hodgson says expanding the port would be key in shipping resources overseas.
It's an underutilized port today.
Premier Wab Kinew calls it exciting.
We have this amazing opportunity to build up an existing port, an existing asset, something that's already shipping critical minerals to international markets this year, but really to take it to the next level.
The director of the nearby Churchill Marine Observatory agrees the port holds potential. Arctic ice is melting due to climate change leading to a longer shipping season. But University of Manitoba professor Fei Wang says more traffic comes with risk.
Anytime you have a ship on the water, there's always the possibility of oil spills, right? So there are multitudes of risks associated with the development.
He says it may also interrupt the migration of marine mammals, and transporting goods through the northern boreal tundra ecosystem with thawing permafrost adds complexity.
It requires really very thorough and careful planning.
The Premier says addressing those environmental concerns means making sure perspectives of Indigenous leaders are taken into account and making the right investments in infrastructure. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The family of a teen who drowned at a city-run pool is suing the city and 4 lifeguards. 14-year-old Adam Serrata Paul was found unconscious in the pool's deep end at a Sydney Class and Recreational Complex last year. He was pronounced dead in hospital. In a statement of claim filed last week, his parents say the city owed Adam a statutory duty of care. They alleged the lifeguards were, quote, inexperienced and immature and failed to supervise or guard Adam. They're seeking $110,000 from each of the 5 defendants, as well as other damages. None of the allegations have been tested in court. A city spokesperson declined to comment. Several businesses along Graham Avenue in downtown Winnipeg are reporting a significant drop in sales following the recent revamp of the city's transit system. Local shop owners say the changes have reduced foot traffic in the area, now that buses are no longer stopping along the street. CBC's Zubina Ahmed reports.
In April it's $294. This is on average. In April it's $299.
This is per day?
Daily.
Tefri Kasai, owner of the Graham convenience store, shows his customer entry logbook. He says there has been an 85% decline in customer traffic since July, when buses were rerouted off Graham Avenue.
On average 270 people they coming in here every day. And from like Thursday and Fridays, the weekend, like from 270 to 340. Now from 340 people, every day like 80 people a day.
On June 29, Winnipeg Transit switched its bus transit network. The changes removed approximately 1,200 buses with the goal of making trips faster and schedules more reliable. All of the stops on Graham disappeared. Kasai says he had to reduce staff and inventory.
Right now we don't do a lot of grocery. We cut everything. We cut hours for my people that work with me because we don't have that. Pretty much I work the whole hours by myself just to pay for the bills. I'm looking maybe for the better place.
Kasai says that 2 years ago he expanded the store and ended up paying double the rent. He now might have to ask his landlord to reduce his rent or he will have to move. Helen Kasai, running her family-owned business, Dance Cafe and Lounge on Edmonton Street, has the same concern. She says they lost almost 50 to 60% of customers because of the transit changes.
A lot of bus people, they come in here, yeah, to pick up, to grab like coffee, cappuccino, and pastries, cakes, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And now that has stopped?
Stop, yeah.
Both Teffrey and Helen are hoping the city will make changes. City Councillor Sherry Rollins urges businesses to hang in there because she thinks a lot of new visitors will come to the area because of the Graham redevelopment. Downtown Winnipeg Biz acknowledged the concern and plans to monitor foot traffic into the fall to assess what's working. Zabina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The mother of a homicide victim is making an emotional plea on the second anniversary of her son's death.
Some nights I don't sleep. My grandsons won't get their dad back.
2 years ago, 25-year-old Lyndon McIver went out with friends on Lake Manitoba First Nation. That's when he vanished. McIver's body was found 5 years later in a wooded area. RCMP say it was a homicide and are looking for information. His mother, Cheryl Metueashing, recorded a YouTube video issued today by police.
Hopefully somebody has a heart to tell what really happened that night, because people do know.
Metueashing says she can't bury her son's ashes until she knows what happened to him. RCMP say they are confident the person or people responsible for McIver's death are still in Lake Manitoba First Nation. Well, there's renewed hope for a Manitoba community devastated by wildfire. 2 people were killed and more than 24 homes were destroyed this spring in the RM of Lac du Bonnet. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, new foundations are slowly starting to rise from the ashes.
Yeah, this is not a great memory, that's for sure.
Aaron Banville's husband Jerry was working on a dock on their waterfront property in the rural municipality of Lac du Bonnet the day a fast-moving wildfire changed their lives.
The wind was coming direct for us, so kind of figuring out, oh yeah, that could be a situation, and we decided to go.
They escaped in their RV, their home on Wendigo Road, which they've owned for around 20 years and have lived in permanently for 5, burned to the ground. Banville stands in what was once her kitchen and thinks about the family photos and the antiques her husband collected.
We'll never get that back.
They lost nearly everything aside from a few charred belongings and a wolf statue that were salvaged. In all, 28 properties were destroyed in this area this past May in the fire that claimed the lives of Sue and Rich Noel. Amid the loss, devastation, and destruction, Banville is starting to see signs of hope.
It's nice to see growth. It's nice to see people spending more time here, rebuilding.
People here have spent the past 3 months cleaning up the charred mess left behind. Heavy equipment was needed to move away some of the larger debris, but a lot of the work was done by hand, with volunteers from an Ontario-based group called Christian Aid Ministries pitching in to help.
You come here now, you see a little glimmer of hope, like it's turning green. It wasn't green before this. As you remember, it was very dark. So this at least allows people maybe the chance to see the future.
Brad Wood had just finished building his place before it was destroyed in the fire. He planned on moving here full-time, but now isn't sure if he'll rebuild. There's a lot to consider emotionally, financially, and aesthetically with the forest now charred. But he is happy to see other people putting down foundations to replace the homes they lost.
The community can rebuild. It's promising.
The Banvilles aren't sure if they'll rebuild either, but say it's good to see others coming back.
And that's the life of it becoming what it once was, or something even better.
They have been spending more time here lately in their RV, pulling weeds and continuing the cleanup, while they decide whether life on Wendigo Road will be a part of their future. Josh Crabb, CBC News, near Lac du Bonnet.
And let's bring in Riley Lachak now. Riley, it was such nice today, the weather, hey?
Yeah, certainly pleasant. What helped was humidity staying low throughout the day today. So 27 degrees as forecast in Winnipeg this afternoon. Yes, a 30 on the board here in Swan River this afternoon. 29s through much of the west. We're starting to get under the influence of that ridge of high pressure that I was talking about yesterday, really warming things up to the west. I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but in some of this, some instability starting to pop up into parts of eastern Saskatchewan, and that could bring maybe a few rumbles of thunder into the Swan Valley as we get through the night tonight, but we could see a couple of sprinkles here in the Red River Valley as we get through the day on Wednesday. So tomorrow afternoon, looking at 26 degrees, another similar day, a mix of sun and clouds, feeling closer to 30 with the humidity, light northeasterly breeze. We'll talk about the prospect of some showers tomorrow, and of course the long weekend when I come back.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Still ahead, an historic curling club in Winnipeg says a proposed housing project could jeopardize its future. That story and more after the break. It's by-election day in Spruce Woods. People in this mostly rural constituency, which also includes the north part of Brandon, have been voting throughout the day to select their next MLA. The CBC's Ian Fraze joins us now live outside a polling station in Brandon. Ian, what are you watching for?
Well, Chuck, no party other than the Progressive Conservatives have won this constituency since it was created in 2011. Will that trend continue, or could we be in for a more competitive race, perhaps even an upset? History suggests that will be an uphill battle. Because in the 2023 election, the Tories won with more than 61% of the vote. At the time, Grant Jackson was running for the PCs, but it was his decision to resign to make the jump to federal politics that led to this by-election happening. Now the NDP has put a lot of time and energy into this by-election. In the weeks prior to the by-election being called, they made a flurry of spending announcements and re-announcements. That led the PCs to accuse the governing party of trying to buy votes, something the NDP denied.
Ian, we know 3 candidates are running to be the next MLA. What do we know about them?
Yeah, well, the PCs have longtime party official Colleen Roberts as their candidate. The NDP went with former real estate agent Ray Bertolet, and the Liberals have teacher Stephen Reeb. Elections Manitoba says more than 5,000 people have cast their ballot. That's more than 34% of eligible voters. As for everyone else, they have until 8 p.m. to vote. Chuck.
Thanks, Ian. That's CBC's Ian Fraze, live for us in Brandon. Well, the fight between the city of Winnipeg and a local curling club over a proposed housing project reached a new level. The Manitoba Municipal Board began a hearing today on the project, which the club says poses a threat to its future. CBC's Cameron McLean has more.
Curlers have thrown rocks at the Granite Curling Club for more than 100 years. The club says the outcome of its fight over a plan to build on this parking lot could determine whether that tradition continues. A hearing got underway at the Norwood Community Centre on Tuesday. The club wants the municipal board to overturn a council rezoning decision, allowing for the construction of a 111-unit apartment building on the parking lot next to it. The project has been developed by the University of Winnipeg Community Renewal Corporation. The club says it would lose more than half of its parking spaces, which it rents out during the day and members use in the evening. At the hearing today, city officials said the land's current zoning prohibits revenue-generating parking lots.
I guess effectively they're operating an illegal service parking lot currently. So were they to continue even with the status quo, it seems to me that they would have to pursue their own application for rezoning on the site.
The club says the city has known it makes money from the parking spaces and never raised the issue before. The developer says the hearing has delayed the project, leading to lost funding opportunities.
One of the funders for which we were looking at $8.5 million in support through FCM Sustainable Affordable Housing Fund, that fund just wrapped up in July, so that's no longer a potential funding source, so we'll have to fill that gap.
The club members say they don't oppose the project. They say they had an agreement with the city to receive a share of revenue from the housing project and get help finding alternative parking. The hearing is set to last for up to 3 days. The board will then have 60 days to come back with a report. Any decisions council makes from that point on must conform with the board's recommendations. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And Riley is back. Riley, today felt like summer again.
Yeah, we're into that phase of the second summer before we get into back to school, and we're looking at this hot, dry stretch continuing as we get into the next several days. I want to start with a look at our precipitation just to show you where we've come so far this summer. So this is a map of the percent of normal accumulation. This takes us from May 1st to July 13th, so about a month ago. And you can see how much of southern Manitoba in that drought stage with less than 50% of normal accumulation. Let's fast forward. This is as of the early part of this week, so as of the end of Sunday, and you can see we have seen some improvement, particularly in the southwest corner of the province and into the Swan Valley, where we've seen some measurable rain, although a little bit late in the growing season for that. We'll now be looking for the chance to replenish that as we get into the fall and the winter months for next year. So rain right now for agriculture, for producers, not necessarily a good thing. We're looking for some dry weather as we start to get harvest going here. And that's what we have in the cards for the the next week or so, really across the province, thanks in part to this ridge of high pressure that's built over the west, and that has really elevated temperatures in parts of Western Canada throughout the day today, and this trough that's pushed a little bit further east. So just giving you a sense of where we've come temperature-wise throughout the day today. Edmonton at 32 degrees, some 30s into Saskatchewan and Regina in particular, and high 20s for Manitoba and parts of North Dakota. So that's the result of that ridge that has allowed some of that warm southerly air up into parts of Manitoba as we've gotten throughout the day today, and this pattern does last as we get into the next few days. With the exception of a weak cold front that will push across central parts of the province tonight, maybe a few rumbles of thunder through the Swan Valley, through the Inner Lake. As this passes through southern Manitoba, as we get through the day on Wednesday, this could trigger some cloud cover, maybe a few scattered showers, particularly early in the day, but just know that there is the chance of maybe a few sprinkles throughout the day tomorrow. Predominantly sunny, though, as we get through the day on Wednesday, through Thursday. Bit of extra cloud cover into the day on Friday, and temperatures that are well above seasonal for this time of the year. So looking at your forecast for Wednesday, 27s through Dauphin, Swan River, 30 again in Melita tomorrow, 26 through much of the Red River Valley and into northwestern Ontario as we head through the day. And we'll keep this trend continuing through the rest of the week. Bit of a bump, 24 for Thursday, Chuck, and back up to a mix of sun and clouds and 26 degrees on Friday. The long weekend's looking warmer. That's coming up in your 7-day.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, it's been a hot and dry summer, and researchers say this could have dire consequences for an iconic butterfly. Jaden Dill reports.
The monarch butterfly relies on nectar from plants as fuel for its fall migration to Mexico. But a group of Ottawa researchers say this summer's intense heat and drought conditions could be putting this endangered species at further risk.
Climate change is increasingly on our radar for how it's affecting monarchs. And so, again, with a year like this, it has the potential to really decline or decrease the number of monarchs that are making it to Mexico, and then consequently the ones that'll come back.
At a farm near Arnprior, monarchs fly from flower to flower sucking nectar. Researchers from the University of Ottawa are experimenting on 5 plant species in an open field to see how the nectar fares under warmer temperatures. They place netted cages around pairs of plants of the same species, and then enclose one of those plants in a mini greenhouse. So tell me what's happening to these goldenrod flowers right now.
So they're sitting in our warming chamber, our open top chamber, and what's happening is we hope they're experiencing a slight degree of warming that replicates local climate change.
The researchers explained that temperatures in the mini greenhouses rose to 50 degrees during one of this summer's heat waves. The lack of rain has added another layer of complexity.
So far, there's a combination of things. One, it's entirely killed off some of the plants that we've been considering. So in that sense, there is no food from those plants available. There are no flowers. But from the flowers that we still have available, it looks like the sugar and the nectar, the sucrose, is getting to be more concentrated and more difficult to pick up. And so right now we're looking to see how monarchs are going to respond to those flowers that have been under these drought conditions.
To run the experiment, the researchers took 5 monarch butterflies from the area, and from them bred another 300. The experiment ends on September 15th, and some of the monarch butterflies will be released after that. Jaden Dill, CBC News, near Arnprior.
She's one of the biggest pop stars in the world, and her man just popped the question. More after the break. And check out this scene over the skies of Arizona. A towering dust storm moved over parts of the Phoenix region, plunging it into near zero visibility. Drivers were urged to pull over and flights were delayed, and it was quickly followed by a severe thunderstorm. It is known meteorologically as a haboob. It happens when thunderstorms produce downdrafts, picking up dry, loose sand off the desert floor, creating a wall of dust.
All right, let's do your dog walking forecast. A special one tonight because it's International Dog Day today. So let's celebrate with Maggie. Thank you, Wendy and Bill, for sending this picture in. I love the hair, love the outfit, love everything that's going on. You can keep sending yours to talkback@cbc.ca. 16 first thing in the morning, maybe a couple of scattered showers, particularly early in the day. We are looking at temperatures reaching 26 in the city tomorrow afternoon. But as I showed you earlier, the potential of seeing some higher temperatures, particularly back to the west. So 24 into Thursday, 26 again for Friday. Check out this long weekend forecast I've got for you. 28 for Saturday, 29 for Sunday, and then we start to drop a bit as we get toward back to school. Well, big news in the entertainment world today, of course, a pop icon announcing she is getting married to the boy on the football team.
And it's a love story, and baby, she said yes. Pop superstar Taylor Swift announced her engagement to Travis Kelce on social media today in a shared post with the NFL star. The photos show Kelce proposing in a flower-filled garden with the caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married," complete with a dynamite emoji. The post got millions of likes within hours.
The pair went public with their relationship back in 2023. Kelce is, of course, a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Swift wrapped up her Eras tour in December and recently announced a new album coming in October.
And if you know any Swifties out there, you know there's been speculation about an engagement for a while. Lots of very excited fans out there for sure. There you go.
The amount of excitement in the office this afternoon.
Oh, love is in the air, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Who's next?
I know, I wonder what people are going to do to celebrate this milestone.
You know, I feel like there's going to be people lining up with the hope of getting some tickets
to
the wedding.
If only you can watch. Have a good night.
See ya.